Boards and booze, booze and boards, drinks and beers, fight some hordes. Drank too much, forgot our swords, ran back home, filled our gourds, got drunk again, sang some chords. Boards and booze and boards, with Mickey and Jeb.
Hi everyone, it's Jeb here. I'm waiting on Mickey to get here, and we can start this episode, which is pretty cool because Mickey, we're playing Jungle Joust, not
It's
Joust.
my lance, Jeb. It's my lance, and I'm jousting. You're the one who bring your lance.
Oh, that's totally unfair. But yeah, we got a copy of Jungle Joust from IDW Games, and we are going to review it.
Yep, this is the next one in the pile of games that they sent us to review.
Yep.
So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. And
it's 2 to 6 players, about 30-45 minutes, and ages 12 and up.
Game designed by Daryl Andrews and Adrian
Adamescu, I think.
Adamescu, yeah, that sounds about right. And you already gave those stats?
Yep. A quick overview of the game. It's two jousters are going at each other. And
on rhinos.
Yeah, because they're in the jungle.
Right.
And all the players are betting on how certain things about the joust, and when it ends, then you see if you get money.
Each person is going to have one that they want to win.
Yeah.
So it's just like, so there's 2 jousters. Each person in the game will have one that they want to win. Mm-hmm. And then there's various betting mechanics in the game. So that's general overview, like Jeb said. Yeah. It's kind of unique in the fact is that I don't think I've seen much of a game that has so many betting elements to it.
Yeah. There's a lot to take in when you play this game.
Right.
Like, I mean, normally in a game you're just like, okay, well, I'll use this method to win, but then you're sitting here and it's like,
so,
wow, so many bets.
If you're watching this interview, like intro, not interview, but if you're watching this, so real quick without getting into any details, I would say the mechanics in this game are unbelievably simple.
Yes.
The depth of the betting, I'm like, wow, there is so much going on. So if that kind of sounds like something you'd be interested, I highly recommend that you go ahead and watch the even maybe a little bit of the the components and gameplay, because we're going to try to tell you why each of the components is or what you're betting on, so to speak, before we go into gameplay. And then after that, during if you don't want to watch the gameplay, I would highly recommend that you go to the very end and at least watch the scoring, because there really is that much going on in this game. Anyways.
like Mickey said, just playing the game's pretty easy. Like you just play cards, and then when it ends, then you do all the scoring.
So I know this kind of sounds like usually what we do during the review, but I think we felt like it was important to let you guys know up front that you might want to pick certain sections to watch, because at least I did. There was a couple times, I mean, I read the rules once and told Jeb what I thought, and then he read them and he kind of agreed with me. He read them again. He had a better understanding of the game, and he kind of did the teaching, but I caught him rolling his eyes at me a couple times going, Mickey, you are just an idiot. I don't know why you can't understand that. And he can't even deny it. Look at him laughing. He was watching the game, and I know I was irritating him because I'm like, what? He's like, this is not that hard. So anyways, we'll be back in a minute with with components. Then what do we talk about?
An explanation of gameplay, and then we'll actually play a game. I don't know.
Components, mechanics, and gameplay. Yeah. All right.
It's so simple, Mickey. There's not many things.
I haven't even been drinking.
And then at the end we'll do a review. So we'll get on with
again,
it.
Jungle Joust, IDW. All right, we're back with the component section of the game. This won't take long. It's I mean, there's a good amount of stuff, but it'll be relatively quick.
Yeah, the first thing is the game board, which you can see.
Looks like a jousting field.
Yep. On the game board, we'll point out a few things. There's the red and black start symbols, which are actually just on the board.
Right.
So
there's a little star at the space where the riders are going to start.
Yep.
And like Jeb said, it's pretty clear which side is red and which side is black based on these symbols.
Yep.
And the lance here, and the black rider didn't get a lance on his side.
He's got like a black hut, I guess.
Yeah. So anyways.
All right. Then there is the tilt area, and when you hear the term tilt, there's a tilt on the red side and a tilt on the black side, and that's pretty much these areas where you can place cards. Like eventually you'll see that you can place cards like that. So this whole area is the tilt area.
Right. So you're lining up each of these spaces. The bottom of the card is going to go into the... it's going to line up with the space. You'll see in a minute if that doesn't make any sense.
There are bonus favor markers that are on the board itself. It's indicated with
these crowns,
black and red crowns. And then the last thing is the center line, which is right here, which is like the halfway point, which is used in the game. And then also, I guess we should say that you put the fence here.
Yeah.
So,
which brings us to fence.
Yep. And then there's also the jousters.
Jousters, riding the rhinos. If you're wondering, yes, you have to put these together.
Yep. And it shows you how to do that in the book as well. Next are the joust cards.
I would just like to say that we did not let Jeb touch either of the jousters.
I touched the fence and I don't know if I broke any of it.
Assembled by Mickey.
So it looks good.
Okay.
Alright, so next up are the joust cards.
Those cards, they basically look all the same. You have some artwork and symbols on the bottom of each card. And that is literally it. No words, nothing to read. Just pictures and symbols. That's it.
And they all have the same back. So
yep.
It's only one type of card in the whole game. So next are the allegiance crests, which there are...
Which I have buried a little bit, so I'll move these guys just in case. I think Jeb's got the camera lined up so you can see. But anyways, these are the allegiance crests. They're double-sided, so that all the backs have a black side and a red side, and then the front either has a red shield or a black shield.
Yep. And if you care, there's 3 red and 3 blacks, so it's 6 total. Next up are the betting chits.
Betting chits.
And so, they have either a 2 or a 3 on them.
Right.
And there's, I guess, for each symbol, there's a 2 and a 3.
Right. Each symbol, in each color, there's a 2 and a 3. And you can see the various symbols, or you can refer to the board. There's a arrow and a gauntlet and a shield and a target. And Jeb would have called that an arrow. He would have called that an arrow, and then he would have called the second one a fist.
Yeah.
Shield he would have said, and then he would have said bullseye, not target on the last one.
I think I said bullseye the whole time.
So there you go. There's the betting chits.
And as Mickey said, there's a color and a trait on them. So.
Right. So that's a black target, and then that is a black gauntlet, and there's an example of a red gauntlet.
Alright, and I think the last thing, oh no, there's a few things. There's coins.
Yeah, various denominations of coins. I think we have 1, 5, 10, and 20 for the coinage in the game.
And then there are debt tokens.
And all the debt tokens, I believe, are just ones.
Yeah, minus ones.
Well, I meant 1 point, but yeah, it is a minus, which is, I don't know, I guess I was like, what's debt minus, going to be a favor. But anyways, they don't look like a coin. It looks like you signed your life away, and you get -1 for these tokens if you end up with those.
And then now the last thing are the favors, which are red and black crowns.
Yep. So yeah, we have some wooden crowns over here, and these are the what'd you call them? Favors.
Favors, yep.
All right. So.
And that's everything for components for the Jungle Joust. Okay, so we've kind of organized it a little bit just so
you can, to save time, so you can see, and you know, it's not no really big deal. But anyways.
Yeah, I'll just read off what to do, and
right.
we'll point it out. So the first thing is to place the board and stand the fence along the dirt trail.
Right, so snap your fence together real quick, because it won't fit in the box with all that. And then, which is one of the neat things about the game, is the 3D effect.
Yep. The next thing is to place the riders at their starting points. And as Mickey said earlier, there's stars that indicate the starting points on the board.
And the riders are colored. So like, there's the red one, there's the red side. So you put his star on. There's a little burst on the bottom of his, right above it, under his nose. Put that on the star space, and then Jeb will do the same thing for that guy on the other side of the board.
All right, so they're prepared.
They're on their rhinos.
Yep. Next thing is to place the betting chits in 10 stacks with the 3 value on top of the 2 value.
Great. So here they all are in order, and as you can see, all the 3s are on the top. The matching 2 is on the bottom. So in case you haven't guessed, when it gets to the betting phase, you have if you take one of these, you have a, you know, if you go first, you're going to be able to get the 3.
Yeah. Next up is to create stockpiles, and that's just piles for all your tokens. So we just have the coins. It doesn't really matter where it goes, but we have the bank over here right now. We have the favor tokens here. We have the debt tokens here. These aren't part of the stock, but everybody's going to get one. Yeah. Next, you're going to shuffle the joust cards and create the draw deck. And it's simply just shuffling.
Right. So shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And then I will make a quick off to the side there. I will make a space for that. You still see those, Jeb?
Yeah, I'll move it over because you're going to need a little space, because the next thing you got to do is draw 2 cards and place them next to the draw deck. And I believe it's called tableau, right?
Yes, I think that's what you call it.
The term is. So that's kind of like the cards you can pick from. Next, you're going to deal each player 2 cards as a starting hand.
We're going to be playing with 2 players today. We have played a 3-player game, but we're going to play the 2 today.
And then the last thing is to distribute alliance crests based on the player count. And in the rulebook, it tells what you need to do for however many players.
Right.
So,
and it is different. It is very different, because if you can't do this random, because it won't balance the game right. So you need to, if you don't have the chart memorized, you need to go look at the chart and see what you're supposed to be doing based on the number of players.
Yeah. So since we're doing a 2-player game, we'll read that one real quick. So you're going to deal a face-up red and a face-up black to each of or one player gets 1 crest. So I don't think it really matters which one.
But if you wanted to, the point would be take 2, shuffle them in your hand, and give each one. The point is they need to be different colors.
Yes. And then you're also going to give each player a face-down token.
And this won't matter.
Yeah, this is just to help with the betting. So we'll show you that in a minute.
So you're going to keep that on it has the red and the black, and Jeb can correct me if I'm wrong. What you're seeing here is a lot different than once the numbers go up, I think, because the color stays hidden. Yeah, in all the rest of them, right?
3 and more players, it's hidden information.
Right.
And it's a lot different.
So then, if we were playing with multiple players, and I would get the black one basically secretly, I could look at it at the beginning of the game, but then it would stay on this side until end of game scoring.
Yeah, so in a 3 and more player game, each player only has one of these tokens. It's the 2-player game that you have 2 of them. And for 3 and 4 players, you're going to shuffle 2 red and 2 blacks and distribute it, and one of them goes face down out of the game, so nobody knows
which one didn't get picked.
And then 5 and 6 is pretty much the same thing. So, and that's everything for setup. So, definitely, if that didn't make sense, leave a comment and we can clear it up for you. But I think it's pretty simple.
Yeah, like I said, and you see the only thing I think that you might have been confused on is what we were talking about with these. There's a very clear chart in the book if that didn't make sense, but you are actually seeing the oddest setup that you would do, and it has to, because like I said, there has to be a split between the riders for the game to work, and since and this is for betting, like Jeb said. If you didn't catch it, he mentioned during the game that this side is for betting during the game, because you can bet on the black side or you can bet on the red side, and you wouldn't. There's no point in having this the whole game upside down. So you have extras, so they just give it to you to use.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you actually could if you wanted to, because everybody knows who's who, but it's nice and convenient since it's available. Why not use two? So hopefully that makes sense. And again, if like Jeb said, if it didn't, grab the rule book or leave a comment, and we will try to make it more clear.
Yep. And that's everything for setup. So we will start talking about how to play the game.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to talk about how to play Jungle Joust, and there's.
Jeb's tongue-tied right now, people.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll start with a quick overview of the game. The way you play.
We already did that, Jeb. That's what we've been doing, buddy.
I know, but there's more specific.
This is our first video, folks.
Yeah. First and our last. All right, so the game is played over 3 rounds. And a round consists of just going back and forth between players, and then when the 2 jousters clash, that ends the round.
Immediately.
And then you do scoring. So you do that 3 times pretty much.
Yeah. If that didn't make sense, we're going to play cards. It's going to make these guys move. When the 2 burst symbols clash at the bottom of them, oh, look, they clashed right there. End of round. That's it. So when you hear us talking about other things you get to do in the round, guess what? They're not going to happen. Oh. All right, go ahead, Jim.
All right, so we'll talk about the turn sequence. All right, so the first thing that you do on your turn is play a card to the tilt. And the rule is you have to play at least 1 card. So you can play as many as you want, but
you have to play one if you can.
Yes.
Now, if you remember when Jeb was talking about the parts of the game board, all these lined areas are what are called the tilt. They run the direction of the arrow on whoever's rhino is going in which direction. So in this case, I am going to play 1 card from my hand, and if you notice, right here, there's a black arrow. The card that I played had a black arrow. So that's a legal play.
Yeah, so one of the rules is when you play a card, you must match 1 symbol to what's already in the tilt, and it has to be the same color.
Right. Now, I could keep going if I had another black arrow, or I could even keep going if I had a red glove in my hand. I could still play another card.
Or he could even play a card on the other tilt, too. So
right.
It's literally, as long as you play 1 card, you can play as many as you want. And you have to match the symbols.
If, however, you literally can't, you must reveal your hand and show everybody that you honestly don't have a combination that works on the field as it is right now.
And then when you show them that, you literally skip this part of your turn. So it's not like you get a bonus or anything like that. It's show your cards, and then you just skip the playing a card. So one thing about playing cards is gaining favors. So we showed you the favor tokens, and you gain favors when 3 symbols are lined up of the same color in a tilt.
So, alright, let's pretend this isn't the first turn and it's come all the way back around to me and I have this card in my hand and I play again on the black. Actually, we're going to go ahead and pretend, and then I played that, and that would cause
as
me
you can
to take
see,
a favor token.
It's the 3rd consecutive black arrow in the tilt. So, as Mickey said, he takes the black favor token.
And I place it on that symbol. Now, the reason that's important is, first of all, it triggers some special effects, of course, except on the arrow. But, so that might be a bad example for that. Well, we'll show you more. But I feel like one of the major points about it is now that resets. And what I mean by reset is that now 3 more arrows have to come out before you could put another black favor on it. Like, so this is not 1, 2, 3.
Right. It's literally covering up that arrow.
Yeah, it's literally covering it up. So you're starting a new sequence, at least in the arrow pile.
Yes.
So there could be different combinations of these other ones that you could get a match. But important to remember that that actually resets the arrow.
Yep.
Movement, I guess is what it's called.
And then Mickey said that you get a special effect when you place one of these. And he also said that when you place it on the arrow, you don't get a special effect. So that's the only one. But if this were the case, that's the 3rd black shield.
So again, would grab a favor token, put it on the shield,
and then
you would refer to what is the special that I get when I make a favor with the shield, which is the defense.
Yes, and the special effect for that is draw a card and place it face down in front of you, and at the end of your turn it gets added to your hand.
Right, so in effect, you kind of get an extra card, so to speak, but the reason for placing it face down in front of you, it is not part of your hand during this turn, so that you have no new information until your turn is totally done.
Yeah.
And that's important because once you get good at the game, that card in your hand could make a difference on how you place your bets during your turn.
Yeah. And the other 2 effects, the target, if you get a favor token placed on the target, it says you may choose a card from the tableau and then immediately use it to bet on the victor, and then draw a card to replace it. So we'll talk about betting later, but it's pretty much you take one of those.
You get one of these cards that's already revealed. You get to pick whichever one you want, and that's if you get 3 consecutive targets.
And then the 3 consecutive gauntlets,
which the targets are called accuracy.
Yep, I'll never remember that.
I know.
And then the gauntlet is you get 3 of those in a row. You discard the leading card from the other tilt and move the rider back.
Right.
So
if this guy over here got 3, we'll use Jeb terminology, gloves in a row, and he placed a favor on a glove, this card would actually go away. And yes, the favor on it would be returned to the supply, and the rider would go back 1.
So, in this case, if black played or got 3 black gloves, I can actually show you that as well.
Why are you doing 3 black gloves over there?
Because it discards the opposite tilt.
Okay.
So, if I place that and then place that, the effect is to get rid of the leading card of the opposite tilt.
Mm-hmm.
So, he'd actually be here. We'll need to talk about that.
Yep.
And then what the effect for the black gauntlet, the 3rd one, is to remove this card. So if there is a favor token on it, it goes away, and then the rider moves back. So that's how
So the rider is always lined up with the highest card in the tilt.
Yes, we didn't mention that, but when you play a card, you move the rider forward to be in the same space as the card symbols that you just played.
Right. So, to back everything up, now that we went over all what the special abilities are with the favor tokens, so I had played a card to start the game. We're winding at this point we're winding back up to when I just literally took my first turn and I played a card. So I play a card, I didn't make a favor, the rider moves up, and now what do I do, Jim?
So the next thing that you do is check to see if there's a clash, and what that means, I guess Mickey already talked about it.
I did talk it once, but this is the point in the game, the second that you play a card and move the card up, you move your rider up to be on the same level as the card. You look to see if the bursts on the riders are touching. If they're at the same level, then a clash occurs.
And it immediately ends
the round.
And then one other thing to talk about are these bonus favors that are on the board. And if a rider ever gets to one of those spaces, if their clash symbol gets to that space, it means you can automatically place one of these on one of the starting symbols. So it's like a bonus favor token, which is what it's called. So.
Great. And you'll notice that, so they're specific to each rider side of the track. So the rider basically has to make it over the half-point line to even have a chance on getting these. So there's the half-point line, and the black rider has to get to here to get his first bonus. The red rider has to get here to get the second. Then there's a spot that gives you 2, and if for some reason, honestly, after playing the game, I don't know how you'd get all the way here in a single round, but they put it on the board, so I'm guessing that it's happened before. That you would actually get to take 3 out of the kitty and play. I don't even know where you'd place them. I guess you can double up. I don't know.
And it says just place them however on the starting symbols. So.
Or maybe there wasn't anything there. Who knows?
Yeah. So after you play your card, the next thing you're going to do is take your other actions. And there are pretty much 2 other actions you can do. One of them is to take a betting chit, and you're able to take 1 chit from any of the stacks, and you can only do this once per turn. So,
right. So that means what Jeb just said is here's one of the actions is taking a betting chip. This is optional. So maybe I look at the game state and I'm like, there's 2 black arrows over there. This is actually one of the odd ones in terms of how it scores, and we'll get into it again. But basically, the arrow you have to bet on the winner. So I'm gonna hope that the black rider is gonna win. So I'm going to take this, and I just take it. Just take it right off the top.
Yep. Just place it right in front of you.
Right in front of me.
Yep, and the key with this is you have to take the top one. So, like Mickey did, he took the 3, and then the next person, if they want to bet on that, they would take the 2 of it, and after that, you can't bet on it anymore.
And honestly, there's every advantage to take the 3. There's no point in taking the 2. Right. Even if you wanted to, there's no mathematical reason to do it because the penalty for not losing is the same for everything.
You mean the penalty for losing?
What did I say?
Not losing.
Yeah, that's what Jeb said. I think you guys know what I meant. But basically, there can be a penalty on these 2, but it's always one coin.
Yeah, the penalty is 1 coin, but winning is either 3 or 2 coins.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
All right, and after you decide if you want to take a chit or not, you're able to bet on the victor. And the way you do this, you need your...
This is when this comes into play?
Yep. So what you're going to do is play a card face down either on the red side or the black side of your allegiance crest. As you can see, the crest is split down the middle, so the black is on the left, the red is on the right, and all you would do is just place a card face down on either side, and that means that you're betting...
On that rider?
Yes.
And since I'll just, for an example, I'll put it on the black side since I told you when I took this that I was going to bet on the black rider anyways.
And you are able to do that multiple times on your turn. So if you have 2 or 3 cards in hand and you want to bet them all on black, then you can just lay them all down right now.
Right.
And then after you take your chit and decide to bet, the last thing you do on your turn is to draw cards. And you can either draw 1 card or 2 cards.
Okay. We're going to circle back to this, but I just wanted to tell you real quick, when you're betting, what you're betting with these cards is based on the symbols. So black symbols are going to be a bonus if you bet it on the black side. And I say that because you're like, why would I put a card there? So
right.
We'll circle back around to that, because like I said, this when I did the intro, that all this is the most complicated part of the game. Sorry, I just wanted to put that as an aside, Jeb. So
no, that's fine.
So like Jeb said, I can either take one of these.
Yep. You either draw 1 card from the tableau, or you draw 2 cards from the deck.
Or I can take the top 2 of the deck. And I think since I bet that card and now I have nothing in my hand, I'm not just going to take a single. I'll take the 2 off the top.
Yep. Now, had you taken one of the cards, what you do is immediately refill its spot.
Right. So if I had taken this anytime that something happens to the tableau, refill it.
Yep.
So.
And I guess right now is a good time to mention that there is a hand limit of 3, and you discard down in this phase. So if you have, for some reason, 4 cards at the beginning of your turn, you'd be able to use them all. But at the end of your turn, you make the check to see if you have any.
And if you couldn't figure out by the mechanics of the game, why would there be such a low hand limit? Because in 2 turns, if somebody let me accumulate 6 cards,
yeah,
and I don't think it would be even that hard to get lucky enough to be able to match 6 cards in a row. You could almost end the game, or whatever the number. I didn't count the spaces. Right. But let's assume that other people played cards, and it came around to me, and I went boom, 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 boom. I got 3 favors. I got 4,000 points, and I ended the game. So it's another aside. Yep. I'm sorry, I'm going on a lot of asides today, Jeff.
No,
not outside, but aside.
Yep, we're inside playing games. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was the draw deck. If for some reason it ever is empty, you just reshuffle, or you shuffle the discard pile to make the deck again. So, right. And I don't know how often that happens, because it didn't happen when we played.
We debated a little bit on the discard pile. The rule book doesn't specify, or at least either we overlooked it or it doesn't specify. Pretty sure it doesn't specify. We decided that there's no difference making a face down or a face up discard pile, so we decided to go like normal games and go face up, even though we started with face down. Then we were like, that's stupid, we're going to draw from the wrong pile, which Jeb actually did. And at that point we were like, yeah, and we tried to think, is anybody really going to look through all that to see what's... And the answer is no. And if you have that person playing that's going to, then don't let them play.
Okay, so I think we've covered everything that you do on your turn. Once your turn's over, it goes to the next player in clockwise order, and just keeps going around until there's a clash.
Right, so I'm done with my turn. I draw my cards. It's Jeb's turn. Jeb, just put one down on the other side. So there. Oh, he matched a red arrow, and he moved the rhino up once. Now he has an opportunity to do the chits and the rider. If again, both optional. He chose to take one. Now he has the option to do the drawing of the cards. He's going to go from for the tableau. That means that instantly refills. Notice he did not bet on a rider that turn.
Oh yeah, you can't see that. I didn't place anything.
Okay, so he didn't do that that part of it, and now it would go on to the next player, and you would continue that until these guys clashed in the middle. So at this point, I think what we're going to attempt, unless Jeb erases what I'm saying right now, is we're going to attempt to tell you how the betting stuff, like
how
it
it scores.
scores, so you know what's going on
Yeah,
when you're laying these cards, because that's what's really important.
Yeah, because right now, I mean, you know how to play the game. It's just understanding how everything is scored and then making your bets based on that. That's actually the key to the game.
Right. So, which, as I said earlier, mechanics, super simple.
Yeah.
Match a symbol, play a card, move the guy. It's that easy. That really is that easy. Now, when we start explaining these, you'll be like, oh.
Yeah, after you hear it, you'll be like, okay. And then when you watch us play, then you'll be like, now I get it.
Right.
So you
actually, I think you'll get the now, or at least for me, the now I got it was, like, I had to play a game and go all the way through the scoring before I totally got it. So
yeah, I feel like you have to see us.
We're going to start with the movement symbol, which is the arrows. I'm going to call them arrows. So you have a red and a black. So at the end of the game, how does this score, Jeb?
Okay, those are scored by looking at the arrows on the victor's tilt. So when you determine the victor, you look at all the arrows on their tilt, and you score points based on the red, or you count the red, you count the black arrows, and whichever is the most is the color that pays out.
Okay, so if that didn't make sense, the scoring on the movement arrows is literally first, which we haven't gone over yet, one of these guys is going to win. Okay? So you're going to go to the winner side of the track. The favors in this case are not part of the equation. And you literally go down the track and you count. So we're going to say the black guy won, and we'll go the black rider, and then we'll count, okay, arrow, 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 all the black arrows, and then call it all the red arrows. And then whatever is the higher number, that is which chit is going to win. So if
say I had this one,
and I had this one, and
there were more black arrows than red arrows on the victor side,
I win.
So what Mickey does is he takes 2 coins because he had the 2 black arrow. I had the red arrow and I lost. So what I do is I lose a coin.
Right.
So.
And again, we're going to go over this again with some cards laid out, but I feel like the more you hear this, the better it's going to be. Okay, so that's the movement arrows, Jeb. Let's do and now the rest of them are very, very, very similar.
Yes.
We're going to do, if not exactly similar, we're going to do the gauntlets. Or the,
the gauntlets.
Fight value or something, I think, in this game. Strength value.
So you're going to look at all of the favors for the color and trait on both tilts. So if we're doing the gauntlets, you're going to look at all the favors that are on the gauntlets on both sides. You're going to do red first or black first, whichever. You do it separately.
Yep.
So we're going to do the red gauntlet. So what you do is look at the favors on the
red gauntlets, and it doesn't matter what side of the board it's on, because you could have matches on the black side that were red gauntlets, and you can have favors of the red gauntlet on the red side. It does it because remember the symbols are still being played on that side. So you look at the number of favors for the red gauntlet on each side.
Yep. Favors on red gauntlets on the red rider's side count as 2 points. Favors on the red gauntlets on the black player's side count as 1 point.
Right. So, in terms of these next, I think all of them, right?
All except the dude's head.
Okay, so this is going to be different.
Yeah.
So all the rest, the shield, the accuracies, which are those are defense, and the gauntlets, these all operate the same. And I'll say it one more time, what Jeb said. So basically, you get, if the red rider is favored to it, you get the 2 points. If the black rider's favored to the red, you get 1 point. So there's actually like a little bonus if the color matches whoever got the most favors. Did I say that right? Kind of?
I think.
Okay. And again, example coming shortly, but we're just trying to get as much explanation in on this part as we can. And then the last scoring that's a little bit different are the helmets. And I don't remember. Valor.
Yep.
Valor is the helmets.
And
right.
for those, you literally just look at which player won, what color rider won, and if you have that chit, then you get the money.
Right. So this is another one that plays heavily off on who actually won.
Yep.
So a little bit different scoring, but these two, really important who won. The rest of them, pay attention to the favor tokens on and what side the favor tokens were on. Okay.
We didn't mention everything for scoring. There's a section on like
how to determine the winner and all that.
Yeah. So what we just talked about was to give you a quick overview. We're actually just going to set up and then we're going to score to show you exactly how everything works for scoring. So you can just, if you watch that, you'll be able to see how to score.
Right.
I think that's what I wanted to say.
Right. Okay. So we're back. We've like made a pretend setup finishing board. If you notice, both the riders, their clashes are hitting on the same space. So at this point, the game is over. And before we get into any of the scoring, so that hopefully we can clear up how muddled what we tried to explain to you just a second ago was, that we made a gigantic boo-boo, which we also did in our first gameplay. These favor tokens never get put on the movement arrows. So we're going to take them all off right now. So if you watched earlier, there's a pop-up that says we screwed up, so hopefully nobody skipped over the pop-up and is yelling at us that we put the favor tokens on the arrows. We caught our mistake. We're taking them off. Now that we've found that mistake, actually these make a lot more sense because both Jeb and I were wondering,
what happens
is there a limited supply of these or not? It doesn't really indicate in the book, but now that we know that you don't put them on the arrows, it actually makes sense. I doubt you would probably run out.
Right.
Maybe, but certainly without having them on the movement ones because of the way the movement scoring works, doesn't matter. Yeah. So we've removed them, and now Jeb is going, I'm going to kind of roll back a little bit. I feel like he understands this a little better than I do, and I am going to point to things as he goes over how to determine a winner, and then we're going to guide going through the betting chips on what won and how you get points.
Yes, so this whole section is just about scoring. Like Mickey said, the first thing we're going to do is find the score for each rider, and by doing that, we're going to look at the favor tokens on both tilts for each color. So, for example, let's take the red rider. We're going to look at the red favor tokens on his side.
Right.
So how many are there?
So the red rider has 2 favor tokens on his side of the tilt. Those are worth 2 points each. So he has 4 on this side.
And then we look at the black rider side, and there are 2 red favor tokens,
which are worth 1 point.
Yep.
So we had 4 plus the 2. We have the red rider has a total of 6 points.
Yes. Then we're going to look at the black rider's favor tokens. So on his side, he has 1, 2, 3. So that's 6 points.
And don't forget, see, he ended the game on a, well, we don't know that he ended the game, but he actually made the bonus favor, which is what Jeb's counting down here.
Yep.
So he has 3 total.
And then on the other side, he has 2, and those are worth 1 point. So we got 2, 4, 6, 7, and 8. So it's 8 for the black rider, 6 for the red.
So black wins.
And one thing the book says is to make sure you remember which rider wins.
So we're going to remove
Yep.
the red jouster from the game, and we're going to move this out of the way a little bit, so hopefully that clears up, but we're going to put him right like that.
Yep. Just
So,
do whatever to...
Whatever floats your boat to make you remember when you're going to go through the other scoring, because there are a couple of the scoring mechanisms that do feed off of who won the joust.
Yep. Alright, so we have determined the victor. So the next thing we're going to do is do scoring for alliances. And what that does is each player would reveal their alliance, but since this is a 2-player game...
We already know who the alliance is. I was the black rider.
I was the red rider. In 3 or more players, all the alliances are face down, so now you would flip them over. And what happens is you get points equal to, or you get money equal to the score of the rider that you are aligned with.
Okay.
So Mickey was aligned with black, and black had 8 points, so he gets $8. And I was aligned with the red, and I got 6 points, so that's $6 for me. So I'll take that. Alright, so that's scoring for your alliance. Next, you're going to do scoring on the betting chits. So for these, you want to go 1 by 1, just to keep everything in order.
Right. So we're just showing you, neither of us actually have the betting chits in front of us, because this is a made up, like, oh, here's the end of the game, but you'll get the point.
Yeah. Let's start with the strength. What you're going to do is calculate the score for red strength and the score for black strength.
Okay, so red strength. I look over here, and I go up, and I have 1 favor for strength.
Yep.
So I have 2.
It counts as 2 points if it's on
the red side.
On the red side.
Now I'm going to look for red strength on their side. Oh, look, here's it. There, a favor actually happened on red strength on the other side, so that is a point. So I have 3 points in strength. Now, Jeb, you calculate the black strength.
Black strength, we have
1 down for the bonus.
Yep, so that's 2, and that makes 4 points.
So, guess who wins? I had 3, black had 4, black wins the strength.
Yes.
So now, we have...
so all the players would check their strength-related betting chips.
These are the strength-related betting chips. Black won, so what would happen, Jeb?
So anybody who had this one would get 3 money. Anybody who had that one gets 2 money. Anybody who had this one...
Either one of those.
Yeah. This one would make you lose $1, and this one would also make you lose $1.
So, I think the important part of that is to remember, if you hold a losing chip, you just lose 1. These don't come into play. And if you hold a winning chip, the payout is whatever is up in the corner.
Yep. And we should probably talk about debt tokens right now, but if you would ever get to the point where you have no money and you have to pay money, then you get a debt token.
Right.
So you can get negative score in this game.
So now that, because you got paid out for the each rider, you got some money. So let's say, for instance, that Jeb actually took that one, and I actually had that.
Right.
Okay? Jeb would actually get a payout of 3.
Because I had the 3
winner.
So I get
and
that.
I had a losing red, and I would have to take one of my dollars and put it back. So you are starting to pay for things out of your kitty right away. And Jeb's point is, if you really, really had a bad round and this went down to nothing, you start taking these for however much you went in the negative.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's how the debt tokens are going to work.
Yep. So we calculated the strength, so let's do the defense, is it? Yes, defense. So we look at the shields this time. So Mickey, you want to do red shields?
Alright, so red shields. I have 2 points on this side, and I have a big fat 0 over there. So red has 2 defense.
All right, black has 1 over here, so that's 2 points. And they have 1 over there, which is 1 point, so that's a total of 3 points.
So black wins. So you would look at anybody that has any of these. This side would pay out.
Yep.
This side would be, if you have those,
You lose the money.
you lose the money for each one.
And let's do the accuracy, which is very similar to the other two.
Great.
Mickey, you want to count the reds?
All right, so I look up here. Guess what? Big, fat 0.
Yep. But there is 1 over on that side.
So I have 1 point.
And then look at black. 0 on that side. 1 on that side. So
We have a big fat tie.
yeah, 1 and 1. What happens in the case of a tie? They all pay out. So
So that means, in the case of a tie, Jeb said they all pay out. That means if you have any of these, you get whatever one you took.
yep.
So if you had the 3 red, you'd get 3 money. If you had, and for some reason you took black too, which would be, that would kind of indicate to me you had no idea what you were doing. You would still get the money. So in a case of a tie, there's going to be no losses.
Yep. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is the movement. So for that, you're going to look at the tilt of the victor. So
Black rider. Now remember, the movement is the arrow. So just the black rider's tilt, which
Yep.
is this side. All we're going to do is look at the number of arrows of each color. So I'll start with red. 1, 2, 3 arrows. Now I'm going to count the black arrows. 1, 2, I assume you count that
Yes.
one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Clearly a black victory. And again, look at who had what.
black arrows pay out.
These are going to pay out. These are going to be worth minus 1 coin each.
And then the last chit to do the scoring is the Valor. And that is pretty much look at the victor and that color pays out. So black was the victor.
Look, black is the victor. Anybody who chose black, these chits pay out. These chits cost you minus 1.
Yep. So that's all the scoring for the betting chits. Next, we're going to do scoring the cards that you use to bet on the riders.
Okay.
And right now, Mickey had 2 cards that he bet on black.
I was able to bet 2, and if you're wondering, what do you mean he bet on black? Remember, whatever side the arrow is pointing to, this is the black side. If I had wanted to bet on red, I would have put the cards on this side, but I bet on the black rider.
Oh, actually, in a 3 and more player game, we had revealed these. What you do is just flip it face down again for this. Not that it's a big deal, but just to clear that up. I had actually bet 1 card on red. So that's where we were at in betting when the clash happened. So let's do scoring.
And if it wasn't self-evident, since you're betting on black or red, it really depends on, guess what, who won.
Yep.
So I put 2 cards on black.
So you're going to flip over your cards, and you get $1 for each symbol of the victor's color on the victor's side.
All right. If that doesn't make any sense, so I reveal these 2 cards. I go down the bottom of these cards and I just count black symbols. 1, this is a black gauntlet, a black target, and a black gauntlet. I just ignore the red symbols. So I get 3.
You get 3 money. Now, if Mickey had a card that he bet on red, and that had red symbols, he would lose a money for each one of those. But in this case, Mickey only bet on black, so he was smart.
Yep. So
let's see how I did.
Jeb actually bet on red.
Yep. So since I didn't bet on black, I'm not getting any money.
Right.
And then I look at the red card that I bet. Let's see if you guys can see that. There are 3 red symbols. So I am losing $1 for each of these red symbols because I bet on red. So goodbye money.
And then he would put that just basically back into the kitty.
Yep.
And that is the end of scoring, right?
That's the end of scoring. What happens at the end of the round after the scoring, everything is reset except your money and debt tokens. The only thing you keep is your money and your debt tokens.
Right. So all this would come off. This would go all back into the kitty. These would all go back into the deck. Or do these get discarded?
Nope, everything gets shuffled back.
So it's everything's gonna. We're just like literally you're gonna start over except for what you've accumulated.
These also go back and get re-dealt out again.
So the reason that happens is because particularly not as much in a two-player game, but particularly in anything above that, now you won't know what the person is really trying to do again because they may have a different alliance.
Yep.
So yeah, these would go back. In Jeb and I's case, basically we would shuffle up and see, you know, am I still going to be with the black rider or with the red rider? It doesn't really make that too much difference in that case. Yep. Jeb's already reset the riders. I would gather those cards over there, and I would gather whatever else Jeb's got sitting over there. Put them all back in, and we just do a quick shuffle. I'm only going to do one because this is just for example. Goes over there, deal out a new tableau,
and bam.
And then two cards to each player, me and Jeb. And guess what? We're ready to start again.
And the way this game is played, if you had caught it in the very beginning, I said it's over 3 rounds. So you're going to do this a total of 3 times. And at the end of the 3rd round, whoever has the most money is the winner of the game.
We're hoping that setting up that scoring example really cleared up what we were, like, I think we've tried to explain the scoring like 2 or 3 times.
Right.
One with an example set up. Hopefully, by the time you listen to us ramble with just trying to explain how the chits work, but you watched it laid out on the board, that it made at least a little bit more sense. If it doesn't, watch the gameplay at least a little bit. If you don't want to watch the entire gameplay, watch a little bit of the gameplay, skip to the end, see how the board ended up, and watch us score one more time. You know, I don't think I can reiterate it enough. Me personally, I feel like that is literally the most complicated part of this game.
All right, so I think that's good. We can start our 2-player game.
All right.